Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Gurudeva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasme Shri Gurave Namo
SUJOK versus coronavirus. SUJOK is the highest level of consciousness among all healings. But are SUJOK therapists potent enough to dissolve the coronavirus or not? We will discuss in this seminar. Can SUJOK really dissolve corona from this world? This is the topic of our discussion today. Tri-origin, the fundamental science, the fundamental law which governs this universe. We all know this world is governed by tri-origin and smile order. The moment when he smiled, world was born. Very recently, under honorary medicine, smile tri-origin food consciousness was discovered. And during this seminars, I am repeatedly telling you about the food, the importance of food, the importance of global warming. And this is what is being proven in this corona epidemic. How? Let me show you. In tri-origin food consciousness, we people have already learned that there are 4 types of food which are being seen in this world. The 4 types of food are the neuto, the food which is coming from the zero world. Hetero, the food which is extorted from the other species with hetero, the killing spirit. Homo, the food artificially made with homo spirit for earning profit. And the neutro, the food growing naturally by his spirit in the nature. Now what are those 4 types of food? The 4 types of food are vitamin D of sunlight, the neuto, food coming from the zero world. The animal foods like meat, egg, fish and the dairy products, hetero, by destroying others. Homo, all industrial refined, processed and the preserved food. And the neutro, vegetable, lentils, beans, fruits and the cereals which grow in the nature naturally. And this is what the tri-origin food consciousness was about. Now, this corona epidemic is a virus which has come in the season of spring, and the spring is the hetero season. Now, why it has happened? Only tri-origin can explain. It is because of too much eating of the animal food like meat, egg, fish and the dairy products. I will show you in this upcoming video how eating too much of hetero food in China, the Wuhan city, has caused hetero to appear from the zero world. Let's see in this video.
It was New Year's Eve 2019 when health officials in China admitted they had a problem.
Health authorities have activated their most serious response level
after an outbreak of a new type of viral pneumonia
in central China.
A rapidly growing number of people were developing a dry cough and fever before getting pneumonia. And for some, it turned fatal. Doctors have named the disease COVID-19, or coronavirus disease 2019, indicating that a type of virus is causing the illness. When they tried to trace its origin, they found a likely source: this food market in Wuhan. Out of the first 41 patients, 27 had been here. It wasn't conclusive evidence, but Chinese officials quickly shut down the market. They had seen this happen before, at a place just like this.
Health officials are trying to get a grip on an alarming outbreak of SARS.
The virus originated in mainland China.
Has spread across the country.
The disease had been festering for months in southern China.
In 2002, a coronavirus had emerged at a very similar market in southern China. It eventually reached 29 countries and killed nearly 800 people. Now, 18 years later, this coronavirus is in at least 71 countries and has already killed over 3,100 people. So what do these markets have to do with the coronavirus outbreak, and why is it happening in China? A lot of the viruses that make us sick actually originate in animals. Some of the viruses that cause the flu come from birds and pigs. HIV/AIDS comes from chimpanzees. The deadly Ebola virus likely originates in bats. And in the case of the 2019 coronavirus, there's some evidence it went from a bat to a pangolin before infecting a human. While viruses are very good at jumping between species, it's rare for a deadly one to make this journey all the way to humans. That's because it would need all these hosts to encounter each other at some point. That's where the Wuhan market comes in. It's a wet market. A kind of place where live animals are slaughtered and sold for consumption.
It was not a surprise at all, and I think that it was not a surprise to many scientists.
Peter Lee is a professor and expert on China's animal trade.
The cages stack above one over another. Animals at the bottom are often soaked with all kinds of liquid, animal excrement, pus, blood, or whatever the liquid they're receiving from the animals above.
That's exactly how a virus can jump from one animal to another. If that animal then comes in contact with or is consumed by a human, the virus could potentially infect them. And if the virus then spreads to other humans, it causes an outbreak. Wet markets are scattered all over the world, but the ones in China are particularly well known because they offer a wide variety of animals, including wildlife. This is a sample menu reportedly from the market in Wuhan. These animals are from all over the world, and each one has the potential to carry its own viruses to the market. The reason all these animals are in the same market is because of a decision China's government made decades ago. Back in the 1970s, China was falling apart. Famine had killed more than 36 million people, and the communist regime, which controlled all food production, was failing to feed its more than 900 million people. In 1978, on the verge of collapse, the regime gave up this control and allowed private farming. While large companies increasingly dominated the production of popular foods like pork and poultry, some smaller farmers turned to catching and raising wild animals as a way to sustain themselves.
At the very beginning, it was mostly peasant household backyard operation of turtles, for example. That's how wildlife farming started to get off the ground.
And since it started to feed and sustain people, the Chinese government backed it.
So it was imperative for the government to encourage people to make a living through whatever productive activities they can find themselves in. You can lift yourself out of poverty. No matter what you are doing, that's okay.
But then in 1988, the government made a decision that changed the shape of wildlife trade in China. They enacted the Wildlife Protection Law, which designated the animals as resources owned by the state and protected people engaged in the utilization of wildlife resources.
That's one of the most devastating problems of the law, because if you designate the wildlife as a natural resource, that means it is something you can use for human benefits.
The law also encouraged the domestication and breeding of wildlife. And with that, an industry was born. Small local farms turned into industrial-sized operations. For example, this bear farm started with just 3 and eventually grew to more than 1,000 bears. Bigger populations meant greater chances that a sick animal could spread disease. Farmers were also raising a wide variety of animals, which meant more viruses on the farms. Nonetheless, these animals were funneled into the wet markets for profit. While this legal wildlife farming industry started booming, it simultaneously provided cover for an illegal wildlife industry. Endangered animals like tigers, rhinoceroses, and pangolins were trafficked into China. By the early 2000s, these markets were teeming with wild animals when the inevitable happened.
The latest on the deadly SARS virus, the worldwide death toll up again today.
China has reported more than 1,400 cases of infection nationwide.
It is what health officials have feared all along.
In 2003, the SARS outbreak was traced to a wet market here in southern China. Scientists found traces of the virus in farmed civet cats. Chinese officials quickly shut down the markets and banned wildlife farming. But just a few months after the outbreak, the Chinese government declared 54 species of wildlife animals, including civet cats, legal to farm again. By 2004, the wildlife farming industry was worth an estimated 100 billion won, and it exerted significant influence over the Chinese government.
Wildlife farming industry was tiny in China's gigantic GDP, but the industry has enormous lobbying capability.
It's because of this influence that the Chinese government has allowed these markets to grow over the years. In 2016, for example, the government sanctioned the farming of some endangered species like tigers and pangolins. By 2018, the wildlife industry had grown to 148 billion won and had developed clever marketing tactics to keep the markets around.
The industry has been promoting these wildlife animals as tonic products, as bodybuilding, as sex enhancing, and of course as disease fighting. None of the claims can hold water.
Yet these products became popular with an influential portion of China's population.
The majority of the people in China do not eat wildlife animals. Those people who consume these wildlife animals are the rich and the powerful, a small minority.
It's this minority that the Chinese government chose to favor over the safety of the rest of its population.
These parochial commercial interests of small number of wildlife eaters are hijacking China's national interest.
Soon after the coronavirus outbreak, the Chinese government shut down thousands of wet markets and temporarily banned wildlife trade again. Organizations around the world have been urging China to make the ban permanent. Chinese social media, in particular, has been flooded with petitions to ban it for good this time. In response, China is reportedly amending the wildlife protection law that encouraged wildlife farming decades ago. But unless these actions lead to a permanent ban on wildlife farming, outbreaks like this one are bound to happen again.
So it is very clear from the above video. Now your consciousness has risen. The problem was too much of hetero food eating. They were harming others. Now what does this mean in SUJOK, and how you dissolve this problem now? Can we do something? Yes. We know a model of triorigin. The triorigin model of the self-surroundings. Self is neutral. Self is surrounded by the time dimension, which is hetero. Self is surrounded by the space, which is homo. And the self is moving, the self-movement. Now the self-movement was described by Professor Park Jae-woo, and later on it was realized that this self-movement is actually your karma. The conscious movement is called karma. When the self is moving with consciousness, and what self is doing is called as karma. The self movement word is actually karma. This self movement is called as karma. Karma is called as the movement with the consciousness, that is conscious movement. This is called karma. This is now realized, and it can now be used in triorigin acupuncture. Up till now, what we were using is the triorigin model of the self, in which you were working on the mind, soul, body, and the life of self. But in this higher model of self surroundings, you are now working on time already, space, feng shui you are using, self acupuncture you are doing, and it's time right now to work on the self movement, which is the karma. Karma is called as a movement with the consciousness, that is the conscious movement. There are 4 types of karma. The karma or the self-action. Neuto is inaction in the face of wrongdoings. When you see wrong things happening around you and you don't take any action, you are neuto. Hetero is actions harming others with physical and mental aggression, like Chinese were eating, harming wildlife, is hetero. The actions which are earning money with unfair means, corruption, tax evasions, is homo, selfishness. And the neutral, this is homo actions, and the neutral action is actions taking with justice, love, and compassion for the welfare of the self, family, society, and the world are neutral. So this is the tri-origin of the self movement. You can also label these as like this, the karma. Karma, the hetero karma is harming others, destroying others. Neutral karma is compassionate action. Homo is selfishness, and neuto is cowardliness, not doing the action when it is required. So what was happening in the China case? Hetero action, China was destroying wild animals, and the full world, and not only China, America, Italy, all big countries where too much of non-veg is eaten, they were destroying the animals, and the rest of the world was not, because your consciousness is not higher, so you were not taking any action. You were in neuto state, coward state. What state? Cowardliness. How cowardliness? You were doing inaction in the face of wrongdoings. Innocent animals were being killed and nobody was taking action. And the result is what has happened now. Let's check. You can see here. Only two actions were there in the world. Two types of karma people were doing. Rather, three types. People were eating a lot of non-veg everywhere, which means hetero karma is being played by people. People have become selfish. Yes. So most of the people in the world are right now selfish. They think about themselves. And this is homo karma people were doing. And then they are cowards. But they are not, they don't have compassion. So what is missing? Neutro is missing here. So when neutro is missing, so what happens? Neutro is that force which actually should govern the evolution. But because neutro is there, homo is there, hetero is there, but what was not there? Neutro was not there. Now what has happened? The tri-origin model, which actually should be evolving towards the neutro, is now returning back with the help. The God is calling them back because God has sent a neuto. A neuto has arisen from the zero world, which now takes the people back into the neuto because of their karma, which we people have built up. So can we change it now? Because it was our sins, our mistakes, our global warming, the animal agriculture, destroying animals, which I am telling you from the beginning to stop non-veg, stop dairy. People have not listened, and the rise is now, the result is the corona has appeared and the mass casualties are happening everywhere. So can we dissolve this one? Yes. How you can dissolve? Let's check it out. Let us plot this model on the thumbs. We have two hands and on them we plot the model of self surroundings. On the left hand upper joint we have time joint, that is hetero. Right hand lower joint we have space. How many types of space do you know now? Space is on the homo joint. And how many types of space do you know? We have 4 types of space with us. What are the space? The space tri-origin. Space tri-origin is internet space is hetero. Suppose a virus appears in the zero world, the internet, and all your computers and phones are hacked somehow suddenly. So what will happen? You have to use that time internet space and say it's a hetero. House space, when your house, the bathroom, kitchen and living room are not proper and you have some diseases and you want to change the feng shui of the house, you will use this space, the homo point of the right lower thumb joint. And then you have neuto as the internal space where your soul lives, and neutro as the environmental space. Now what has happened in the environmental space right now? A hetero has broken down, a hetero has come to destroy people, and you can enter and stop this virus from the space joint, and you can enter and stop this virus from the karma joint. How? I will show you now. So we go to the joint of the space. In the space joint, the internet is the hetero space, house is the homo space, environment is the neutro space, and the internal space is neuto. What I do, I put a vertical needle on the environmental space point. I'm putting a needle here. Or you can put a green colored dot there. We don't recommend people to use needles because of medical legal issue. So what I will do, I will rather do color therapy. So rather than doing, I will put a green colored dot here on the back side of the thumb, and this dot will actually be, you can see it will appear like this. The dot will come here. At this point it will be like this joint, this area, it will come like, there will be a dot, green color dot I am putting here, right? So after putting that dot, what will happen is the right hand will open up, right? In this right hand you can see what has happened is actually that in the environment now, because of too much of for some reason which has been explained in the karma, that somehow some hetero has appeared in this space. But if you see clearly that homo was already there in the space. Why? Because too much of people were means you can say to bring the balance, which means in this environment actually too much of cluttering was happening, too much of clutter was coming up, too much of people, not 1,000, maybe lakhs and crores of people were evolving, and so the number of things were increasing, right? So from population, from 1% to this so much of, there were too many aeroplanes going on, there were so many radiation towers were there, and birds were getting destroyed, animals were being eaten, and all wrong things were happening. So now to bring the balance, what has happened is to bring the balance from the now what was lost, actually the neutro in this neutro was lost in this environment. People were becoming like selfish, and in the space you can say there was too much of clutter, any unhygiene, or too much of garbage you can say, and waste, too much of waste was getting generated, and there was increase in the number of people, population was increasing. So there was too much of hetero activity and there was too much of homo activity. So what was being lost is neutro was not there. So this triorigin model now is not progressing. This is hetero, homo. So this triorigin model should ideally be under the control of neutro, but it was not there. It is not there. So what has happened now? This triorigin model is not evolving now. This model is not evolving. If something is not evolving, it should return back to neutro. Now to return back to neutro, from the zero world, something has arisen here. Okay, something has arisen here and we have to stop it. So the treatment for this is, what should be the treatment? See, the SUJOK consciousness is so high that if one therapist from one country apply this treatment, corona will dissolve. So the treatment is actually so the treatment is, in the space you touch the environment, put a green color dot there in the back, and then you go to the neutro and sedate the hetero joint there. How to sedate the hetero joint? You will take a blue color and put and circle this joint with the blue color. But the ideal treatment is you just circle this joint with the blue color with the consciousness of sedating, because in the in the environment now, from the zero world, something has appeared which wants to take everything back. So I want to in the virus is always hetero, and the fungus is this is the fungus, this is parasite, and this is bacteria on the nail, right? So I will just put a blue color circle here to sedate this joint. And how the direction of this is, usually flow is towards this side, so I will put it reverse like this, circle 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 like this. And now I want to increase the neutro. So how to increase the neutro? What I will go to the same thing. To stop this one, we should have something called as relation. Now here you can see relation here with the neutro, because only if neutro is increasing, neutro will stop. So what you can do is just go to the neutro finger, which is the harmony in the environment. And what I would love to do is I would love to increase the neutro here. And how to do that is just take a green color. Now you can take a green color and or just put it on the middle joint like this. This is one possibility of sedating the virus in the zero world and tonifying the neutro. So this is one possibility. Other possibility is you can make all the SUJOK therapists should apply this treatment. 99% you will come next day, you wait for one day. By the next day in your TV, the news will come that corona is stopping in 1 or 2 days. If corona is stopping, keep doing this treatment. If corona is not stopping, the next option is what you can try is just put a blue color dot here, blue color circle, and then you can go to this finger and have you can replace this one, this virus, because opposite you can see here. So this was hetero in the neutro. So what you do, you increase hetero in the neutro. So first you sedate hetero in the neutro. I'm sedating here. And then I go to this joint, and now with red color of on the neutro finger, I will tonify the neutro here, or tonify the hetero on the neutro. So what will happen, this will be replaced by this, and what will be this new hetero is, this hetero will be cure of corona. Or you can say, you all know that the neutro is, what is neutro? Neutro is microorganisms. And what is neutro is immune system. So you see that in the neutro finger, this joint is actually virus, right? This joint is parasite. This joint is, the nail joint is bacteria, and this joint is fungus. And what you mean by same thing here? Now on this joint here, if you see, this one is actually IgM response, IgM antibody, acute immunity. IgG is chronic immunity, chronic immune response. What is neutro is adaptive immunity, and what is neutro is actually, on the nail joint you can see, on the nail joint actually will be the innate immunity, you can say. Right. So what we want right now is actually want this one we want to reduce, this one we want to reduce, and this one we want to increase. So we want to, the virus should dissolve, and this you can say IgM response of the community to increase. All the people in the country should have antibodies to the virus. Or you can say, in another way of the immune system, you can say that one more classification is like, you can say that on this nail joint actually was the stem cells of the immune system. On the hetero joint you can say natural killer cells. Natural killer cells. On the neutro joint you can say that you have is the helper T cells, and on the homo you can say you have antibodies. So right now, to dissolve the corona, what we want is immediate, all the people should develop natural killer cells within the body. Natural killer cells to destroy corona should come, and after some time antibodies should come for the corona. So if what I have to do the treatment from this consciousness, what I will do is I will first sedate the virus in the space. Then for 1 week I will be tonifying the hetero joint. What I will be doing to tonify the hetero joint is I will be putting a red color dot here on the hetero point, and then again sedating the homo, and then tonifying the neutral here. Okay, and after 2 weeks, when I want to have the immunity, then I will tonify this one also. So after some time, antibodies will develop up. So, or you can simply, what you can do, tonify the full finger. Immune system you can tonify for the full world. So the treatment is, if you look at from that point, is just put a red color dot here, put a red color dot here, and put a green color dot here. If you do this and sedate the virus in here, your full country's immune system will be toned up and the virus will go down. I will do this treatment. I'm doing now. Okay, and this should dissolve the corona from the India actually. So even if you are not doing, even if you're seeing this one, the consciousness will raise and corona will dissolve. So this is one treatment. And then what we will do next is to, at higher dimension, is to enter into the karma. So you see, for the self movement karma, you have 4 types of karma. I already told you that. What I will do, I will go to the hetero karma. I will so hetero karma was this is the hetero karma point, and this one is the hetero karma point. This one is the homo karma. One second. So this one is the hetero karma point, and this one is the homo karma point, and this one is the neutral karma point on the back side, and this one is the neutral karma, right? So what you were doing is actually that you were all of us were only doing 3 types of karma, that you were harming others, right? People were harming others, people were selfish, and people were coward, not doing justice, not taking any action. And what was missing was compassionate action was not there. So our focus right now is on compassionate action. We want neutral karma to increase, So what I will do, I will just go to the karma joint. Here on the karma joint, I will first, what I will do is, first thing which I will do is to sedate the hetero karma. I will put a blue color dot here. To sedate the homo selfishness, I will be putting a red color dot here. To sedate the cowardliness, I will put a green color dot here front. And to increase the compassion in the people, I will go to this and I will put a green color dot on the back side. So just by doing this treatment, if all the SUJOK therapists in the country do this in their surroundings, the compassion will increase and the virus will dissolve. It will take just 1 day or 2 days for the corona to dissolve. This is the highest level of consciousness. And after you have applied this treatment on your hand, then for 5 minutes, just for 5 minutes, you need to smile. I have already told you, we can end all the suffering if we know what to eat to prevent the disease and to keep smiling. in all the situations to end all the disputes. Smile meditation. Smile. Smile starts with the embryonic development. Smile is contagious. People that smile tends to live longer and disease free. It helps to relax. Smile is reverse of the stress. It is 100% free and it helps people communicate in a better way. If you treated every single person and every animal around you as your beloved other, the world would change overnight. Cruelty and violence would end. Lack and insufficiency would evaporate. Suffering would disappear. Oppression would cease. Inequality would dissolve. Anger would terminate. Loneliness and isolation and separation would be no more. We would all experience life. We would all experience life as it was intended to be lived. And we have up now applied the treatment on our hand. Just all of you put the treatment now on your palms, put treatment, and now it's time. Just with me, all of you close your eyes for 2 minutes, just for 2 minutes, and now with the meditation which we are doing will dissolve the corona in one day. All of you, please close your eyes. We are doing just a 2-minute meditation. Close your eyes. and we have applied the highest level of treatment, and all of us have achieved smile. It is a guarantee. If you have achieved smile, remember one thing in your life, that success follows smile, and success will always come to you now, because all of you have achieved the highest level of consciousness. You all have pledged with me that you will not be eating any kind of non-veg, not harming the animals, and God has seen it. And now Corona tomorrow. Bye bye. Go back to the zero. Thank you guys.